Hi BookTube, my name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a weekly reads video. This is for week number 25 and it's June the 20th through the 26th. So 4 books this week, pretty proud of that. Last week was like 8 books, this week is 4 books. I have a feeling that's how it's going to kind of go, like 1 week with more reading, 1 week with less reading. It is what it is. So it's Sunday the 27th that I'm filming this. It is just after 10 o'clock in the morning. I have not had my coffee yet, but I am enjoying from McDonald's my smoothie. I love these. This is the pineapple mango. So good. I know it's not technically a fruit serving, but we'll pretend. It's supposed to be ridiculously hot today in Toronto. I think it said like 30 Celsius, which is our high, but that's not factoring in the humidity. My mom heard 40 with the humidity, which for my American friends is around 100 Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's going to be a hot one today, so I want to get these filmed, and then I plan on spending the rest of the day inside in the air conditioning reading. That's my goal. Sorry, cat fur. I'm always covered in cat fur. No matter, I don't even touch the cats, and I'm still covered in cat fur. It's been a good week. I talked to you guys a little bit on Friday with my Friday reads, and sorry that went up so late. It was a bit of a weird day. I think I'm going to try and start filming those like maybe on Thursday nights to go up on Friday, so we shall see. But like I said, I've got 4 books done this week, so I'm going to, of course, share with you guys the 4 books that I finished this week, and then share with you all of the books that I am currently reading. I think it's 5 of them. And then we'll go from there. The end of the month is very quickly approaching, my friends. So that's exciting. That's very exciting. After this video, after I'm done filming this video, I'm actually going to be filming a crafty video because if you guys have noticed, I have not been showing you guys what I've been working on crafting wise week to week. I decided to amalgamate it all into one video at the end of the month. So I will be filming that next, and it's going to go up tomorrow on Monday. And then on Wednesday will be my TBR for July, which I have the stack of books sitting right here, guys. I am so excited about that TBR. So let's get into this week's reading. So the first book that I finished this week was Winning Mr. Charming by Heather Lee Bell. I gave this book 4 stars. It is the first book in the Charming Texas series. It's Harlequin Special Edition novel number 2843. Publication date of June of 2021, and it is, of course, a contemporary romance. This book was adorable. It's a great second chance high school sweethearts type of a story. So it's about Valerie and Cole. So Valerie lives in Missouri, and every summer she would go down, while she was in high school, she would go down to the Gulf Coast of Texas to a little town called Charming and visit her grandmother for the summer, and she spent her summers there. Well, she met Cole, and her and Cole would have these summer flings. Like every summer that she would be there, they would be like dating or what have you, right? They were like 16, 17, 18 years old. And every summer he knew that she would be leaving to go home. So that was kind of a thing. Well, now they're adults. She has been married. They haven't spoken in well over a decade, probably 15 years. And she's back in Charming because her grandmother had a stroke. Her grandfather passed a few years earlier, and then her grandmother had a stroke. And her grandmother is having some major financial difficulties. She lives in a trailer park. It's this trailer park filled with like elderly people. And I kind of want to live there because it's amazing. So it's like a senior's home, but trailer park. And the grandfather had made sure that the mobile home or the trailer itself was completely paid for. However, you do still have to pay the rental fees to have your trailer or your mobile home on that property. So anyway, I guess the grandmother hasn't been keeping up with those bills, and she's very far in debt. And they're actually going to evict her, like her and her mobile home, from the park. So Valerie's down there trying to help her grandmother, after this stroke and financially. So long story short, she runs into Cole and she needs a job. She's a teacher by trade. And of course it's the summertime, so she's not working. And she meets back up with him. So the town does this contest every year called Mr. Charming. And it's for local business owners or employees to enter. And it's a $10,000 cash prize. And you just have to be as the name implies, charming. Like, it's a popularity contest, let's be real, right? So when the town council approaches Cole to get him to, enter in, he's like, yeah, for sure, he's a big flirt. He's just that kind of, he owns a bar. I mean, like, he's just very much a people person. So Valerie's working there because, like I said, she needed a job, and she kind of pipes up and she's like, well, can I enter? And they're like, well, it's Mr. Charming. And she's like, and I'd still like to enter. So she's the first woman to ever enter the Mr. Charming competition. So it's a fun, kind of competition between the two of them, along with, of course, their romance starting up again. Guys, I loved this book. You need to check this one out. It was such a delight. First in the series. I don't know when the next book's coming out. In the back of this book, it does say, or no, it's on Goodreads. I saw that they said what the second book is in the description of this book, but I can't find it on Goodreads. So I don't know if it's coming out later this year or early next year. I really don't know, but I'm really looking forward to it. I absolutely love this one. The next book that I finished was Dawn Saves the Planet by Anna Martin. I gave this book 3 stars. It is Babysitter's Club book number 57. Original publication date September of 1992. And of course, this is a middle grade fiction novel. Continuing my reread through the Babysitter's Club. In this one, it's all about environmental issues and how Dawn becomes a little too gung-ho about trying to save the planet, to the state where she's now obnoxious about it. And it kind of starts to ruin her friendships, and kids at school are making fun of her. So that's kind of what it's all about. But it's great ecology information as well. I think about the time it was written, the ozone layer was the ozone layer is still a big thing. But aerosol cans and stuff were really, we were being told to not use those anymore. And it just seemed to, ecology and saving the planet was very much a hot button topic, if you will. I'm not saying it's not anymore, but that was the kind of the beginning of it, if you will. So this one was really good. I liked it. I mean, I gave it 3 stars. These Babysitters Club books generally get 3 stars from me, unless there's something extra special about them. But yeah, this one was enjoyable. And I've always said that Dawn was one of my favorite characters. However, in this book, not so much. I even started to find her just a tad obnoxious. The next book that I finished was The Match by Sarah Adams. I gave this book 4.5 stars. It is the first book in the It Happened in Charleston series. Publication date on this one was May of 2020, and this is a contemporary romance. This is a sweet contemporary romance. And so yesterday, me, Chloe, and Bree did our live show over on Chloe's channel. I'll link that in the description box below for you guys to go and check out, because we talked about this book. So I'm not going to get too much into it here. However, in that discussion, one of my viewers posed the question, why are we now using the term sweet as opposed to clean? And I just wanted to kind of touch on that very briefly right now. The reason I've started to refer to books as sweet and spicy is because I think, and I agree with it too, when I step back and thought about it, it makes sense that a lot of people are doing that now, because clean denotes that sex is dirty, where it isn't. I'm not here to get into that entire discussion, but to call a book clean or dirty makes adult content parts of the book seem bad. Does that make sense? So that's why I'm starting to refer to them, and I know a lot of other people are doing the same thing, to refer to them as sweet or spicy romances. So that way you kind of know where you're falling in the spectrum. Like, is it a sweeter romance? Is it a spicier romance? Instead of the terms clean and dirty. And I think a lot of you will understand and agree with that, but that's the reason why, in case anyone else was curious. So this is definitely a sweet romance. I don't even think anything happens behind closed doors. So this is the story of Evie and Jacob. And she has epilepsy. And she works for a company that gives service dogs to people. And the meet cute at the very beginning of the book is just a true meet cute. It was adorable. So Jake's daughter, Samantha, just 6 months earlier was diagnosed with epilepsy as well. And she really wants a service dog. She saw one on TV, and now she really wants one for herself. But Jake is really adamant about not getting her one because he's her parent. He should be the one protecting her and taking care of her. They shouldn't have to rely on a dog, and that's his mental capacity, or like that's his thought process, excuse me, for this whole thing. So Evie goes behind his back, or not Evie, Samantha goes behind her dad's back and composes this email to Evie, and she thinks that at the beginning she's going to meet Jake to talk about getting his daughter this dog, when in reality Jake doesn't even know that they're off to go meet Evie. So then the story kind of goes from there. The two of them meet. There's not a lot, and we did talk about this again in the live show. There's not a ton of conflict between Evie and Jake. You know, there is a little bit because he thinks he shouldn't get into a relationship with her, and she thinks he doesn't like her because he really avoids her. A lot of the conflict comes from her parents. Her parents are a piece of work, and I felt, and I mentioned this in the live show, that her mother borderline was abusive to her, mentally abusive to her, with the things that she said about her. They're from very, very old Southern money, and her mother doesn't understand why Evie wants to live in a shoebox apartment, you know, eating Fruit Loops, when if she would just marry this guy that the parents think is right for her, even though he's a complete D-bag, let's just say that, he's a jerk, that, you know, she can now have money again and she can live in a nice house, and they don't understand why she doesn't want that. So that's the majority of the conflict. There's really not a lot between Jake and Evie. However, it was still an adorable book. I absolutely loved it, and I highly recommend that you guys check it out. There is a second book in the series, and I can't remember. I think it's called The Enemy, and we asked yesterday, none of us could figure out who that story was about, like whether it followed a character we met in this book, but it's actually about Jake's sister. One of our viewers pointed that out. It was about Jake's sister. So I am excited to get to that one next. And the last book that I finished this week, this was a really good reading week for me, you guys, was Cold Case True Crime by Denise and Wheatley. This book I gave 4.5 stars to, guys. I loved this one. Thank you so much to NetGalley, Harlequin, and the author for sending me an e-art copy of this book to read and review. This is book number 5 in an unsolved mystery series, but you do not have to read these books in order. There is nothing that ties them to each other than the fact that all of the stories are about some sort of unsolved mystery cold case type of a scenario. This is Harlequin Intrigue number 2012, publication date of June of 2021, and it is, of course, a romantic suspense. So this is the story of Samantha and Gregory. You guys know I love romantic suspense. I love the intrigue line. I love the Harlequin romantic suspense line. I love watching, I yesterday binge watched 6 episodes of CSI. I love Law and Order. That is my jam, is that whole cops and robbers kind of a vibe. I love that kind of thing. However, this book got my pulse rate up, you guys. My Fitbit told me so. There were scenes in this book, without giving too much spoilers away. Okay, let me tell you quickly what it's about. So what it's about essentially is Samantha runs a blog called Somebody Knows Something, and it's about cold cases. And a friend of hers has reached out because her brother has gone missing, and she really wants Samantha to help find her brother. No, he didn't go missing, excuse me, he died. And they want to find out who killed him, but the case has now gone cold. The police have kind of filed it as a cold case, and they're going about whatever. So she's trying to investigate, and there's this new police officer in town. His name is Gregory, and he has moved from big city Chicago to this small town, and he's like looking for the laid back cop kind of an idea, domestics, traffic stops, stuff like that. Not the stuff that he was seeing in Chicago. So anyway, Samantha he kind of gets dragged into this with Samantha. Let's be real. So the two of them are essentially investigating what happened to this guy who ended up dead. So that's the premise of the story. I don't want to give away too much more than that because it is a romantic suspense novel. However, there were scenes in this book. There's one scene where Samantha is somewhere where she shouldn't be, and that's all I'm going to say. There's a couple scenes like that. And I'm literally like, what are you doing? What are you doing? And my pulse rate is just going up. I'm like, get out of there. So this one really, as much of these books as books that I read, this one really had me on the edge of my seat. I absolutely loved it. I said 4.5 stars. I think I'm going to bump that to a 5, guys, because it was that good. It was that good. And what I really liked is that, of course, this is a romantic suspense. So there is a romance element in there with Gregory and Samantha. However, one did not overshadow the other. The romance worked perfectly. You know, sometimes I find with some of these kind of books that you'll read them and it's like, you know, they're being chased by bad guys, but hey, let's stop and discuss relationship stuff. Like, no, you wouldn't be doing that. They, you know, they danced around each other, that they found each other attractive and they flirted. There were a couple scenes where they would go to dinner and stuff like that. However, it didn't move away from the actual suspense part of the book. So yeah, so good, guys. So good. Please pick this one up. If you love romantic suspense, you'll really love this one. And the Intrigue series is a sweeter series. Nothing happens in this book. Generally, that's the case with the Intrigue novels. The romantic suspense books by Harlequin, however, do move a little bit more to the spicy end of the spectrum, whereas the Intrigues are definitely on the sweeter side. So that is everything that I read this week, you guys. It was a great reading week for me. I'm super happy. Pardon me, I've got the hiccups. So let's get on to what am I currently reading. So currently, a lot of these books I did talk about in my Friday reads, so I apologize for reiterating. But the first book that I am working on, my audiobook right now, is The Lost Apothecary by Sarah Penner. I am almost done this book. I should actually get it done today or tomorrow, so I will definitely have it to talk about next week in my weekly reads. Again, I talked about this one on Friday. It's a historical fiction, modern day. It's one of those ones that goes back and forth in time, about this lost apothecary. I really don't want to give too much away because I really went into this one not knowing what it was about, but I am absolutely loving it. And everyone who commented on my Friday reads who's read this one said it was fantastic, and I absolutely agree. This could be another 5-star read for the month. So I'm really loving that one. The next one that I am currently reading, I just started this one yesterday, is Stolen to Wear His Crown. This is by Marcella Bell. This is about a woman who, it takes place in a small, fake European country, and she has been working her whole life to be a scientist, to be the advisor to the king. So she goes, the book starts off, she's at her interview for this position. And she finishes her interview. They decide she's going to be the new advisor to the king. She's all very excited. And then this SWAT team breaks into the room and takes her. And then she ends up in this other room in the palace. And she's essentially now married to the king. They were betrothed before they were both even born. And neither one knows why that's the case. Like, their fathers did not, there's no way that they can find that their fathers even ever met, let alone put a betrothal together for the two of them. So we shall see where this one goes. It looks really, I'm really liking it so far. I'm only about 2 chapters into it, but it's really fun read. I think this is the author's first Harlequin. It's not her first book, but I'm pretty sure it's her first Harlequin. And so far, really enjoying it. The next one that I am reading, you guys, this one is so cute. So I am reading The Sergeant's Matchmaking Dog, and this is by Carrie Nichols. This is a Harlequin special edition. This is the 5th book in the Small Town Sweetheart series, and it's about our main character named Gabe, who is a former Marine, and he is stateside and back after serving, and he is back in his small town of Loon Lake. I think it's in Vermont. And he is renting this one side of a duplex. And on the other side of the duplex is a woman named Addie and her younger brother, Teddy. And she is the primary caregiver for her nephew, or for her brother, excuse me. And it's essentially their relationship. It is adorable. And how the dog kind of brings them together. This big dog named Radar. And it's a delight, you guys, an absolute delight. I am loving it so much. So again, this will be another one I will be talking about next week, I'm sure. And the last one that I'm working on, I had actually put this one to the side for a bit because I was reading Cold Case True Crime. And what I tend to do at night lately is I have this new app downloaded on my phone called Happy Color, where you like color pictures in and stuff. I'm obsessed with the mandalas, you know, the circle, you know, with the, I love those. Those are my favorite thing to color on that site. So or that app, excuse me. So I do that. And what I do is I put text to speech on and I listen to the book as I'm kind of doing that. And that's like my my wind down before I go to bed. I'm doing this for a couple weeks. So I was reading both cold case true crime, and I was also listening to, I was listening to both of them. Not at the same time, but like the one night I was listening to cold case, and then the next night I switched over to this one, Guardian in the Storm by Carla Cassidy. And I got completely confused because I went back and started reading the next day cold case, and I'm like, but what about her dead father? I was totally confused. So now I put this one aside, so now I'm picking it back up again, and it's about a woman whose father and uncle were both murdered. So this is a romantic suspense as opposed to an intrigue, and like I said, the romantic suspense ones go a little bit spicier on the spice meter, if you will. And so she's investigating what happened to her father and her uncle, and there is I think he's hold on, I think that he's an FBI agent, and the two of them end up getting stuck in a cabin together during this storm, so it's a forced proximity, but it's a romantic suspense. I'll let you guys know more next week. So that is everything that I am currently reading. That's everything that I read this week, you guys. It was a great reading week for me. Really, like, I read some great books this week, but like I said, I have a feeling next week will be like another like 8 books. It just so happens the way it works out week to week. And yeah, I am so happy with everything I'm reading. Wrap up will be coming in another couple weeks for the month, but I have been loving reading all of these like Harlequin books. They just make me so happy, and there have been a bunch of them that I really enjoyed, you guys. There were a couple duds, but the majority of them I really enjoyed. So yay on that one. So anyway, guys, that is it for this video today. Please let me know in the comments below, how did your reading week go? What was your favorite book this week? Have you read any of the ones that I've talked about, and what did you think about them? And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.